She built an empire when few believed she could. She shattered glass ceilings with grace, style, and an unshakable determination. And then, just as the world was finally beginning to recognize her as a legend, fate took an unexpected turn. This is the remarkable story of Barbara B. Smith, the woman who redefined elegance, entrepreneurship, and resilience, yet remains one of history's most overlooked pioneers. B. Smith wasn't just a name. It was a brand, a movement, a symbol of excellence. Decades before the world spoke about inclusivity in business, fashion, and fine dining, she lived it. The restaurant scene, the modeling industry, the world of publishing, all spaces that had long been dominated by faces that didn't look like hers, became the very places she claimed as her own. But how did a young girl from a small Pennsylvania town rise to become one of the most influential tastemakers of her generation? Barbara Elaine Smith was born in 1949 in Everson, Pennsylvania, a place few would associate with high fashion or fine dining. Her father was a steelworker, her mother a maid, two hardworking parents who instilled in their daughter an unbreakable work ethic. As a child, Barbara wasn't just ambitious, she was unstoppable. She didn't just dream of making it in the world, she knew she would. The question wasn't if, it was how. In the 1960s, the modeling industry was notoriously exclusive. Runways and magazine covers were dominated by a single, rigid standard of beauty, one that rarely, if ever, made room for Black women. But B. Smith refused to be told what was and wasn't possible. She auditioned for agencies that barely glanced at her. She faced rejection after rejection, yet she pressed on. And then, finally, a breakthrough. In the early 1970s, she became one of the first Black women to grace the cover of Mademoiselle magazine, a moment that signaled the beginning of something much bigger. But B wasn't content with just being a face in fashion. She saw beyond the fleeting glamour of modeling and envisioned something greater, a lifestyle empire. She immersed herself in the world of fine dining, an industry where Black women were virtually non-existent as owners or leaders. But where others saw closed doors, B. Smith saw an opportunity to redefine an entire industry. In 1986, she opened her first restaurant, B. Smith's, in Manhattan. It wasn't just a restaurant, it was a statement. A Black woman owning an upscale dining establishment in one of the most competitive food scenes in the world? Unheard of. But B had an instinct for elegance, and she knew how to craft an experience, not just a meal. Her restaurant became an instant success, attracting everyone from political figures to Hollywood celebrities. Soon, more locations followed, each bearing the signature warmth and sophistication that B was known for. Yet, even as she conquered the restaurant world, she didn't stop there. She saw the power of media and storytelling. She became a TV host, bringing her knowledge of cuisine, home decor, and entertaining to millions of viewers. She published cookbooks that weren't just about food. They were about culture, legacy, and the celebration of life. She even launched her own home goods line, stepping into a market few Black entrepreneurs had been invited into before. For years, it seemed like nothing could slow B. Smith down. But then, a cruel twist of fate changed everything. In 2013, B revealed that she had been diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's disease. The woman who had built an empire on attention to detail, on her ability to create beauty and sophistication in every corner of life, was facing an illness that threatened to take it all away. But even in the face of this devastating disease, B. Smith refused to disappear. She and her husband, Dan Gasby, went public with their struggle, using her platform to raise awareness about Alzheimer's, particularly how it disproportionately affects the Black community. She became a voice for those who often suffer in silence, proving once again that even in adversity, she remained a trailblazer. Her later years were not without controversy. When her husband publicly announced a new relationship while B was still alive and battling Alzheimer's, it sparked a heated debate about love, caregiving, and dignity in illness. The headlines, the opinions, it was a storm of emotions and ethical dilemmas. But through it all, one thing remained undisputed. B. Smith's impact was undeniable. She had already left her mark on the world in a way that could never be erased. She passed away in 2020, but her legacy continues to live on. In the world of fine dining, in fashion, in the pages of her books, and in the countless lives she touched, B. Smith's influence is eternal. She was more than just an entrepreneur. She was a visionary, a woman who saw no limits, who refused to be boxed in by the expectations of others. So why, even now, is her name not mentioned in the same breath as Martha Stewart or Oprah Winfrey? Why isn't B. Smith a household name in the way that others are? Perhaps history has overlooked her, but we don't have to. Her story deserves to be told, remembered, and honored, because B. Smith wasn't just ahead of her time. She created the time. Her achievements extended far beyond business. She was a role model, a mentor, an advocate for diversity in industries that had long resisted change. She understood that representation matters, that seeing a Black woman at the head of a thriving empire had the power to inspire generations to come. Her work paved the way for others to follow, proving that success was possible despite the barriers placed before her. B. Smith's influence was also deeply personal. To those who knew her, she was more than just an icon. She was a woman of warmth, kindness, and unyielding determination. Her legacy isn't just in the businesses she built or the brands she created, but in the lives she touched, the doors she opened, and the barriers she shattered. The world may have lost B. Smith, but her story continues to inspire. She was a pioneer, a trailblazer, a visionary whose impact will never fade. And perhaps now, more than ever, it's time to say her name, to recognize her contributions, and to ensure that her legacy is never forgotten. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to comment, like, share this video, and subscribe to our channel for more content. Until next time.